Pix, the free and instant mobile payment system challenging U.S. dominance in Brazil. Imagine a payment system so revolutionary that it not only overtakes credit cards and cash, but also forces tech giants like WhatsApp to abandon their own plans. That's exactly what's happening in Brazil, with Pix, a free and instant mobile payment system launched by the Central Bank of Brazil. But here's where it gets controversial. Could Pix's meteoric rise signal a shift in global financial dominance, challenging the long-standing supremacy of U.S.-based payment systems? Let's dive in. On a bustling evening at Rio de Janeiro's iconic Copacabana beach, Eduardo Rezende Gonçalves, a street vendor selling iced tea, reflects on his day's sales. Out of the 24 glasses I sold today, about 80% were paid for using Pix, he shares. Pix, a three-letter acronym, represents a seamless bank transaction system integrated into all mobile banking apps, enabling instant and cost-free payments for everything, from street purchases to utility bills. Launched in November 2020, Pix has skyrocketed in popularity, surpassing traditional payment methods in just a few years. In April 2025 alone, transactions totaling 2.677 trillion reais, over 410 billion euros, were processed through Pix. According to Carla Benny, an economics professor at the Fundação Getúlio Vargas, this success stems from its user-friendly design. There are no extra fees, and the money appears instantly in the recipient's account, she explains. This means a cleaner or electrician can get paid and go shopping immediately after finishing a job. And this is the part most people miss. In a country with one of the highest rates of online credit card fraud globally, Pix is also hailed as the safest payment method, according to a 2024 study by the Central Bank of Brazil. Eduardo Rezende Gonçalves highlights this security. If I'm robbed, the thief might take my phone, but my earnings remain safe in my account. Moreover, Pix has been a game-changer for financial inclusion in Brazil, where 42% of the active population relies on the informal economy, according to the 2022 census. By providing a secure, cost-free payment option, Pix has empowered millions of low-income citizens to participate more fully in the banking system. But here's the controversial question. As Pix continues to dominate Brazil's payment landscape, could it inspire other nations to develop similar systems, potentially reshaping the global financial ecosystem? Or will established players like credit card companies and tech giants find ways to reclaim their dominance? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's spark a discussion. U.S. versus Brazil, the battle over Pix, Brazil's popular payment system. Imagine a world where one of the most celebrated and widely adopted digital payment systems becomes the center of an international trade dispute. That's exactly what's happening as the United States sets its sights on Brazil's groundbreaking Pix platform, igniting debates about fairness, data sovereignty, and global economic influence. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this really about trade practices, or is it a deeper battle over who controls the future of financial technology? Earlier this month, the Office of the United States Trade Representative, USTR, officially launched an investigation into Brazil's trade policies, with a particular focus on Pix, a fast, free, and highly efficient electronic payment system managed by Brazil's central bank. The USTR alleges that Brazil's digital payment environment may be discriminatory and restrictive toward American businesses, potentially harming their ability to compete in the Brazilian market. For instance, major Silicon Valley players like Google Pay and Apple Pay have struggled to gain traction in a landscape dominated by Pix. Pix is an exceptionally strong competitor, explains Daniel Santos Kosinski, an economics professor at the State University of Rio de Janeiro. Because it's completely free for users, it has become almost impossible for foreign tech giants to challenge its dominance. This sentiment highlights just how transformative Pix has been since its launch in 2020, Today, approximately 3/4 of Brazil's population, around 160 million people, rely on Pix for everyday transactions. By comparison, only 6.6% of Brazilians use Apple Pay, and 9.7% use Google Wallet, according to recent reports. The popularity of Pix isn't just about convenience, it represents a cultural shift in how Brazilians interact with money. Take Rebecca Neves de Luz, a medical student from São Paulo who shared her experience with Rest of World. She revealed that she no longer uses traditional debit or credit cards because Pix eliminates the hassle of carrying physical cards or worrying about losing them. I feel more comfortable supporting a national system rather than relying on foreign alternatives, she added, emphasizing the pride many Brazilians take in using a homegrown solution. And this is the part most people miss. Pix isn't just popular, it's reshaping the entire financial ecosystem in Brazil. In 2024 alone, the platform processed 63.8 billion transactions, marking a staggering 52% increase from the previous year. To put that into perspective, Pix now handles more transactions than all other payment methods combined, including credit cards, debit cards, bank transfers, and even checks. So why does the U.S. care so much about breaking into Brazil's payment market? Experts suggest that access to consumer data plays a significant role. As Santos Kaczynski points out, big tech thrives on collecting massive amounts of data about individuals and societies. Unlike private companies, Brazil's central bank doesn't sell your information for targeted advertising, a missed revenue opportunity for firms like Meta. However, some legal experts argue that the issue runs deeper than mere economics. Luiz Augusto Dorso, a specialist in cybercrime law, believes the Trump administration's actions are also tied to Brazil's General Data Protection Law. Modeled after Europe's GDPR, this legislation imposes strict rules on how companies, including big tech and payment platforms, can collect and process personal data. Could the U.S. investigation be an attempt to undermine these protections and pave the way for less regulation? Giselle Truzzi, a digital law expert based in São Paulo, offers another perspective. She argues that Pix challenges the conventional model of financial innovation, which is typically driven by private corporations. This raises important questions about public digital goods, she says, referring to growing discussions around whether countries should prioritize developing their own real-time payment systems instead of relying on multinational tech companies. Brazil isn't alone in creating successful domestic payment platforms. Kenya's M-Pesa and India's Unified Payments Interface, UPI, both government-backed initiatives, have similarly outperformed foreign competitors like WhatsApp Pay. These systems are not only thriving locally, but are also expanding internationally, signaling a potential shift away from Western-dominated financial technologies. But tensions between Brazil and big tech aren't new. Earlier this year, the country's Supreme Court ruled that digital platforms are accountable for user-generated content, leading to temporary bans on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, due to disputes over misinformation and free speech. While these incidents underscore Brazil's commitment to regulating tech giants, they also highlight the broader ideological divide between the U.S. and nations seeking greater autonomy in their digital economies. There's yet another layer to this story: geopolitics. Some analysts believe that the U.S. investigation into Brazil's trade practices is partly motivated by a desire to pull the South American nation closer to Western interests and further away from China. As a member of BRICS, a bloc comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, Brazil has maintained close ties with Beijing, hosting this year's summit. In response, former President Donald Trump threatened to impose additional tariffs on countries aligning themselves with what he described as anti-American policies within BRICS. For many Brazilians, the U.S. scrutiny of Pix feels deeply personal. It's seen not just as an attack on a payment system, but as an affront to national sovereignty. Pix is a public digital good. insists Neves da Luz. It demonstrates that essential infrastructure doesn't need to be controlled by big tech. As the investigation unfolds, one thing is clear. The stakes extend far beyond trade. This case could set a precedent for how governments navigate the delicate balance between fostering innovation, protecting consumer rights, and asserting control over critical digital infrastructure. What do you think? Should countries prioritize building their own payment systems? Or should they embrace global tech solutions? Share your thoughts in the comments below.